Now on CoastTV News.
Bypassing the bypass. Some saying trucks aren't using the roadway to go around the city.
A reinstated Bill Buckaloo, why some are saying it's reinstating their doubts with the Lewis Fire Department.
Gates are up for endless summer cruising in Ocean City. How fall events are keeping the busy season rolling.
A big chill change is coming up on the immediate horizon. Get ready for a frosty feel in the morning time.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Busy bypass, but locals saying traffic is still bad downtown. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with the North Millsboro bypass up and running, but is it helping traffic?
This is what the bypass looked like today. DelDOT's goal of the project was to move as much truck traffic as possible to the bypass and get them out of downtown Millsboro. CoastTV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is on the North Millsboro bypass in our Jeep. Brandon, some people say the bypass is helping, but others say nothing will fix traffic.
Maddie, this is what we are seeing right now on the North Millsboro bypass. As we turn onto it, notice how you see a few cars and a dump truck right here coming past us. Now, DelDOT says it's too early to see how many exact people are using it, but locals in Millsboro say not enough people are. Tractor trailers on the newly opened Millsboro bypass. Cars and trucks of all types. But is the $140 million roadway working? Millsboro's Mayor Bob McKee says some big trucks are bypassing the bypass and still driving through downtown.
But now some of the heavier dump trucks coming through, so not related to the poultry industry. So down the road at some point, we'll work with DelDOT and possibly have truck restrictions.
During today's meeting, DelDOT engineer Mark Lutz says because of the bypass opening less than 2 weeks ago, it will take truck drivers a while for them to learn this new route. One positive, Millsboro's mayor says the largest trucks in town are using the bypass as intended.
We've had meetings with both Mount Dare Farms and Allen Harim, and they're both very supportive and cooperative. So their instructions to their trucking companies is to use the bypass as a primary route.
Beverly Brown drives through Millsboro every day and says the bypass raises some questions.
The more that they do the improvements to the roads is, in my theory, going to increase the traffic.
The new bypass, up and operating, but how effective it is still up in the air. DelDOT engineer Mark Lutz says the exact numbers and data for how many people and trucks are using the bypass will be fully available after a full month of the North Millsboro bypass being open. And we did speak with one man that lives at near the entrances of the North Millsboro bypass. He says the traffic is moving a little faster, but traffic in this area is just inevitable. Live on the North Millsboro bypass, Brandon Ferguson, CoastTV News.
Only news in Millsboro, the traffic signal you see here on Plantation Lakes Boulevard, that's going to start flashing October 14th and be fully up and running October 17th. Now, part of the road work has to be done the 14th, but weather could delay that by just a few days.
Let's get into our Coast TV poll here. We want to know, has the bypass changed traffic in Millsboro?
Let's take a look at the results so far. 35% say it's much better now, and 43% say it's too early to tell. 21% say no real change. 1% say too confusing now.
We do have a comment from Joseph in Long Neck who says, I used 24 through Millsboro to get to work on 113. The traffic was always backed up, sometimes to the chicken plant. This has definitely given travelers an option to not go through town, so the traffic is lighter than before. I've tried driving all the way down the bypass to get to 113. It took me much longer to get to work.
Interesting perspective there, and we have a few more comments, but we'd like to get more. If you want to comment, please do so and vote at coasttvnews.com.
The Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice says the reinstatement for embattled former Fire Chief Bill Buckaloo normalizes what they call 18th century behavior. CoastTV News reporter Emma Aiken is live at the Lewis Fire Department. Emma, the Alliance says they've been hearing from people of color who are absolutely outraged.
Charlie, the Alliance tells me how the Lewis Fire Department has handled the situation is inconsistent, and the Alliance says the move to reinstate Buckaloo normalizes racist attitudes and language. One person who lives in Lewis that we spoke to says Buckaloo should have stayed removed for 2 years. But another person we spoke with today says Buckaloo's behavior shouldn't be a life sentence, and being suspended as chief was a fair punishment. Joseph Lawson with the Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice says how the fire department is handling the situation is hurting public trust.
The question becomes, how can they do this? Why should they do this? What are our standards as a society when some guy can make the remark like the ex-chief did in front of a group of people, thinking it's funny or thinking it's fine, and then our public institutions, which should be policing this type of behavior, say, well, so what? It's over.
The Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice says they believe Buckaloo should resign. We did reach out to Buckaloo again today, and we did not hear back. Reporting live here in Lewis, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Following Buckaloo's suspension in July, the Lewis Fire Department held an election to pick a new fire chief. Robert Stevens is now currently serving that fire chief role. Full disclosure, current fire chief Robert Stevens is the husband of Coast TV's assistant news director and anchor Madeline Overturf. We now take a live look into Rehoboth Beach. Looking decent out there as we check in with our first alert meteorologist, Paul Williams. I know we had some rain earlier today.
Oh, yeah, we had our fair share of rain. We had up to 3/4 of an inch in most areas, and that was actually backing off of the initial concern for 1.25 inches or 2 in some cases. So we escaped that one pretty unscathed. Now, in Milford, we're at 69 degrees. We'll drop to 61 with mostly clear skies. Listen, we're going to have a frosty feel to the air for tomorrow morning, but we do have concerns for winds staying a bit gusty. A small craft advisory will stay active until 6 o'clock Friday morning. That means from Lewis Beach down to Fenwick Island, we're bracing for about 25-mile-per-hour winds, and we do have a coastal flood advisory that's connected to the high tide for tonight. Coming up, we'll talk more about what to expect over the weekend and a big storm brewing for next Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, Charlie.
Keeping an eye on that, Paul. Delaware State Police need your help locating 43-year-old Darnell Andrews from Millsboro. Police say Andrews is wanted for felony assault charges after a domestic-related altercation. Troopers say it happened in the Rehoboth Walmart parking lot. Troopers say they have made attempts to contact and locate Andrews, but have not been successful.
Summer may be over, but Ocean City remains a magnet for fun. Big events in town continue to draw people back to the coast. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe is live in OC. Kevin, the town is setting up for the endless summer cruising.
Maddie, while things are being broken down at the inlet after those 2 big music festivals, here at the Ocean City Convention Center, things are being set up. If you take a look right behind me, you'll see a stage as well as gates surrounding an area where those hot rods and classic cars will be driving through starting tomorrow. Now, endless summer cruising will go from October 9th through October 12th. And after that, get ready for the 50th anniversary of Sunfest in town. Amy Thompson is the CEO of the Ocean City Chamber of Commerce and says all these extra events keeps the cash registers working overtime.
The shoulder season is broadening both on the spring and fall side of things, and what that means to the business community is there's more opportunity to continue to delight visitors to the area.
Now, if you want another example of how these events are growing in town, we spoke with a general manager of a hotel in Ocean City today who believes that Boardwalk Rock will grow from a 2-day event to a 3-day event next year. That's the same thing that happened with Country Calling this year. I'm Kevin Zappe, live in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
Americans are feeling the impact as the government shutdown enters the second week. If you're waiting for a tax refund, you may have to wait a little longer.
Late this afternoon, the Treasury Department said it's furloughing more than 34,000 IRS employees. That's about half of the workforce.
NBC's Yamiche Alcindor shows us that this comes as the White House floats the idea that furloughed workers may not be entitled to back pay.
Day 8 of the government shutdown, and there is no end in sight as federal workers and union leaders plea for a solution.
So today I call on leaders from both parties to sit down together, work out your differences, and find a solution that reflects the best of America, just like federal employees do every single day.
But so far, demands for compromises have not moved Republicans or Democrats. Today, the Senate voting again and failing again to pass a bill to reopen the government. Frustration spilling over on Capitol Hill.
How about you go down the hall and go vote to open the government up?
Now the shutdown forcing federal workers still on the job to make some tough decisions.
Will I be able to pay my bills? Will I be able to pay my mortgage?
No American should ever have to choose between serving their country and feeding their family.
Lack of funding also hitting programs designed to help struggling families, forcing states to make moves to save services in jeopardy, including the Women, Infants, and Children program that feeds more than 6 million low-income families.
You're a new mom, you got kids under the age of 5, an infant, we're taking care of you. We'll make sure it continues until the federal government gets its act together.
Democrats say they're fighting to keep health care premiums from skyrocketing and getting an unlikely Republican ally.
For the health insurance issue, it's happening right now. These premiums are going to go up.
Meanwhile, as all this plays out, furloughed federal workers are worried they may not get back pay after the government reopens. A draft White House memo argues they're not entitled to back pay, though after past shutdowns, workers have received it. Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News, Washington.
A new speed camera on Route 1, when you'll need to slow down or pay.
We have cooler and clearer conditions expected over the next few days.
Governor Matt Meyer speaking with doctors at Bay Health, the health initiatives they are focusing on up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Rural health care in Sussex County getting a little attention from the governor. Governor Matt Meyer visited Bay Health's campus in Milford today, where he toured the facility and joined healthcare leaders for a roundtable discussion. The conversation focused on strengthening rural health care, expanding access, improving affordability, and exploring grant funding to better support local communities. According to Bay Health, the challenges facing Delaware's healthcare system today are forcing patients to deal with longer wait times, delayed treatments, and in some cases, inadequate care.
What gives me hope are the individuals working here and the leadership here that's really patient-centric, that's saying, listen, no matter what's going on out there in the world, no matter what division or politics or even a federal government that's shut down, we got to make it work for the people who walk in here every single day.
Bay Health says it's already working to combat some challenges through its mobile health unit, which they say make it easier for people to access health care.
Taking a look at your Bay forecast, we're looking for sunshine and frosty start to the morning for Thursday morning, Friday as well. Then another round of rain with a much bigger and more vibrant storm system that we've seen all season long. We'll talk about that and the possibilities coming up in a moment. Well, we had our rain from this morning, and we have another round of rain that's going to hit late Saturday going into Sunday. And Sunday's going to be a very uncomfortable feeling day out on the beaches, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Rehoboth Beach, 68 degrees, 3-mile-per-hour winds, dropping back to 64, mostly clear skies. We're in the 60s right now. 67 in Milton, Redden, Georgetown, Gumboro, Dagsboro, as well as Del Mar. In the last 24 hours, we've had 3/4 of an inch of rain in Rehoboth Beach and more than a half an inch rain in places like Del Mar, as well as Jones Crossroads and Laurel. From a wider standpoint, we had 0.58, just over a half an inch for us in Georgetown and in Salisbury, and then just over the half an inch in Ocean City. Speaking of Seaford, which I was about to accidentally say anyway, we had just shy of a half an inch at 0.42 there, and we had 0.35 for us in Bethany Beach as well as Slaughter Beaches. Here's where we stand right now. That wave of rain from this morning, it's out of the way. Now, in its wake, we do have an active coastal flood advisory until 3 o'clock on Friday. This is primarily concerned to the surge of winds coming out of the north, and it's connected to the high tides. But other than that, we're not expecting any additional rain until we get to Saturday. Overnight, we drop into the 40s. It's going to be clear. We may have a frosty start to the morning for Thursday. Keep in mind that we are going to watch out for a random sprinkle at noon. Then after that, we stay in the 60s. Winds are out of the north at about 11 to 18 miles per hour. So this 63, it's going to feel more like 50-something. Same holds true for our 65 in Cambridge, feeling more like 55 as the winds continue to stay blustery, and we'll have 63 degrees in Ocean City feeling like 53. Now, not only that, but we'll have that same situation. Look at these winds out of the north, up to 26 miles per hour for the beaches. So we're talking about a very uncomfortable situation as those winds pour out of the north pretty steadily, and then eventually they'll begin to come out of the east for us by the time we get to Friday. Now, I was talking about a big storm system. This is the one I'm talking about. This is starting Sunday morning, 5:30. Look at the big circulation associated with this. See how it's turning, and it's turning on its eye here, and we see that it's still redeveloping right over our neck of the woods, and it won't get out of the way till we get to, let's say, Monday or Tuesday. So with that being the case, we're looking for a significant amount of rain to form. And last but not least, we take a look at Tropical Storm Jerry, still a tropical system, but expected to graduate to a Category 1 by Friday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then it'll swerve away from the coast for that amount of time. Finally, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We're looking out for that rain Saturday going into Sunday. Now, that Saturday high of 70 degrees, cloudy skies, front pushes through, and that low pressure system off of the water or off the coast is going to give us the backside of that low and give us that rain. And then we're going to stay a little bit on the low side with temperatures until next Wednesday.
Thank you, Paul. Dewey Beach offers a new way to support the town while also becoming a part of Dewey history. Bricks can be purchased for $300 and they will be used for the new town hall project. Local visitor or business owner, the brick purchased will be permanently on display in the facility's new walkway. This serves as a great opportunity to commemorate loved ones or showcase a business. Coming up tonight on Delmarva Sports Network at 5:30, it's the live Bayside Conference field hockey when Pocomoke hosts Easton, then catch the final score at 10:30. Along with that field hockey game, here's what's coming up on DSN Plus at 5:30. Decatur traveling to Easton in boys soccer. Bennett faces Decatur in field hockey, and Concord battles Brandywine in girls volleyball. Then at 6, more girls volleyball when Delmarva Christian hosts Archmere.
We salute Warner Lee Wright for his honorable service in the United States Army during the Vietnam War. Stationed near Pleiku, Lee served with distinction in the 2nd Squadron, 1st Cavalry Regiment, D Troop, as a helicopter armament system specialist. His dedication, skill, and commitment to duty reflect the best of our armed forces, and we proudly honor his service and sacrifice.
Spicer Brothers and Coast TV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a Coast TV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
Route 1 is about to get its first speed camera. DelDOT installing a camera along southbound Route 1 by Minos Conaway. That is where a number of new roads are being constructed, and they say anybody going at least 11 miles over the speed limit will be caught by the camera. DelDOT says a 21-day warning period will start, but by November 11th, you're going to be fined $20 if you're 11 over, plus an extra $1 for every mile over that.
Former FBI Director James Comey pleads not guilty to federal charges. Comey was in court facing charges of making false statements to Congress and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. In September, President Trump called on the Justice Department to go after several of his political foes, including Comey. Critics say the charges are Trump's revenge for Comey's investigation into Trump's 2016 campaign. A trial is set for January 5th, where Comey could face a maximum of 5 years in prison if convicted. Let's take a live look outside into Cambridge. One more check on the forecast after this.
Coming up new on Coast TV News at 6, a multi-car crash in Georgetown that trapped a driver. The extent of the injuries new at 6.
Let's take a look right now in Laurel. We're holding at 58 degrees, dew point temperature of 55, winds at 12 miles per hour, but we are expecting for it to clear out for us throughout the rest of the night as we cool down quickly into the 60s. Eventually, we may flounder our way into the 40s with a bit of a frosty feel. We have a coastal flood advisory active for Sussex. This is connected to the high tides. And then we also have a small craft advisory until 6 o'clock Friday. This is bracing for 25 mile per hour wind gusts, but it's going to become even more vibrant than that, particularly as we go into this weekend. But overall, we're relatively clear. We have our Joe DeSalvo of Millsboro, your our umbrella giveaway winner. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Brugstedt, Medalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your 10-day forecast. Stay tuned because we might have to call for a yellow or perhaps red alert day over the weekend.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, and you might want to get that local weather app, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
We'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.